said, "Let me explain my crazy to you." And then she brought up the issue of what was really driving her crazy. And so I got to thinking about that throughout the day. And that is such a cool way of not spinning the crazy cycle, because here's Lamar just bumbling along through the house, not really knowing that this is an issue. And I can promise you, if Paula says this, let me explain my crazy to you. I mean, I could have got my head cut off for this one. I mean, she could have swung a machete at me. But instead of spinning the crazy cycle, she made it fun. Not only fun, but made it understandable. I get it. Because I have to explain my crazy to her all the time. And by the way, let me just explain something to y'all. If you're wondering what crazy is, there's a mathematical equation that will help you understand crazy in every situation. You ready for it? How simple is that? 1 plus 1 equals 2. Y'all get that? That's simple enough. So if you're dealing with something that makes sense, I don't care if you're at home, I don't care if you're at work, I don't care if it's in your relationship with your wife, with your kids, with your coworkers, with your boss. If 1 plus 1 equals 2, it ain't crazy. You can deal with it. You can work it out. For crazy people, 1 plus 1 never equals 2. In other words, what I'm saying is, crazy, you can't reason crazy. Crazy don't add up. It just don't make sense. So there's how you know. You want to know if you married crazy? Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. I ain't saying. If you want to know if her mama's crazy, maybe she is, maybe she ain't. I ain't saying. If you want to know if his sister's crazy, well, maybe she is, maybe she. If you want to know if your boss is crazy, he may be, he may not be. You want to know if your kid is crazy. They may or may not be. It just always will add up. If it adds up, it's normal. If it don't make no sense, better get some help. Better get some help. Okay. That's a little diversion. That's not in the book. That's going to be in Lamar's book. That's going to be in the one I write. Okay, yes.
My favorite line is Jack Nicholson, and it's as good as it gets. The way he comes to the store, he's trying to talk to them something they don't want to do, and he's got his own problems. He's strung out. The last thing he tells her is, "Sell crazy somewhere else. I'm all stocked up here." Slaps the door in her face.
Sell crazy somewhere else. I'm all stocked up here. That's good. That is good.
Sell it somewhere else, so I got all I can deal with.
That is good. Hey, by the way, let me just explain this to you. This works in the church too. If you don't believe me, ask Mitch. Some of y'all know that Mitch's pacifier box got full and he hadn't restocked. Church people need to put crazy somewhere else. We got an adequate supply over here, Duncan. Okay, in the following chapters, we want to focus on getting on the energizing cycle and staying there. Now here's what I wanted to share with you. The energizing cycle is proactive, which means we take the initiative. We're doing something positive instead of responding. It's proactive. it's positive, well, hey, there we go. We've been joking, having a good time, and we just gave a real example, you know? Make it fun. Bring up the issue in a way that doesn't sound like you're trying to spin the crazy cycle. And it is preventative. And I would add this, with these three words, proactive, positive, and preventative. Think about this, y'all. If we can develop habits in our relationships that are proactive, positive, and preventative, listen to this. Our relationship will be protected. That's good stuff. And he didn't even write this. I might write him and see if he wants to add that to this chapter. If it's proactive, if it's positive, and it's preventative, it will be protective. And that's something that we ought to be aggressive about. Because I want to say this to you guys. Satan wants to destroy our homes. He does. He wants to destroy our marriages. He wants to destroy our relationship with our kids. He wants to destroy our kids' futures. Satan launches an all-out attack on our homes. And so let me drift away again. I may run out of time and y'all may not get to ask any questions. I never will forget sitting with a couple when I pastored in Piedmont. And they weren't in our church, but what happened was we knew them. And we went into a local restaurant, and it was in the middle of the week, and we were probably, there was probably 3 tables in the whole restaurant that were filled. And we were there, and this couple I'm talking about, and that other somebody left, because I think we talked to this family for about 3 hours that night. But anyway, we knew them. They knew us. We got to talking. And it just so happened that their son was addicted to drugs and had gone through home with a heart. And that was why the whole conversation come up anyway. And so we got to talking, and they just basically told us their story. And we listened to them. And on the way home, I asked Paula this. I said, why is it? And I'm gonna say, let me back up a step. One of the things that they said was when their son started using drugs, they didn't know what to do. They knew it was happening, but they just didn't know what to do. Now, I don't fault anybody for that. I mean, I understand that. But this was what I said to Paul on the way home. I said, why is it that if somebody breaks in, kicks the door down, and enters our house in the middle of the night, why is it that Daddy will rush into the hallway with a 12-gauge shotgun locked and loaded? He's going to defend his home with deadly force. Why is it we'll take that approach if somebody were to break into our house, but when drugs break into our kids' lives, we become inactive because we don't know what to do? Now, listen, I just said I don't fault not knowing what to do. What I do fault is not doing anything because you don't know what to do. I mean, call the judge, call the doctor, call the lawyer, call the preacher, call the neighbor, call somebody, do something to get some help. So, back to this whole thing. If it's proactive, if it's positive, and it is preventative, it will be protected. So, stay on the energizing cycle, and the crazy cycle will not spin. How many minutes we got? Okay, right at 5 minutes.
Oh, well, 5. You can put 5.
Okay. Now, this is our 7th week. No, 8th week. 8th week. We've been doing this for 8 weeks. Are there any, let's do this. Do you two have any questions? Y'all are engaged, headed towards marriage. And y'all been hanging out with us, hoping to learn something. Do y'all have any questions? Y'all good? Okay. All right. Now, rest of us. Any questions? Any comments? Any funny examples? Y'all good?
I suggest arguing naked, she would go for
What? Who said that?
We're gonna go loud with this because this has got to be heard on the little Facebook video.
I don't know how she could say that.
Kyle Moore suggested arguing naked. Now, as cute as that sounds, there is a trouble spot there, and I'm going to expose Kyle. If Jennifer would agree to argue naked, they would never progress. Kyle would spin the crazy cycle every day. Hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. Okay, anything else, y'all? We doing good? Are y'all enjoying the class so far? Having fun? Having a good time? Okay, next week, pay attention to Facebook. I'll be off tomorrow. I'll get in the office on Tuesday. I will map out our strategy for Sunday, where we're going to go, and I'll Facebook out and tell you where we're going. And y'all respond back and let me know who wants to participate in the Bible outreach next Sunday morning. And we'll go with those of you who want to go. Those of you that don't want to go, we'll see you back week after next. Next Sunday, we won't have Sunday school. We'll be doing outreach. Take it away, Mama. Let me explain my crazy.
We don't have time
it. No, it's one more relative measure, if you're gonna argue, start that way.
I got a life outside of church.
I usually do one for me. I can't get this picture.
Okay, I feel like Lamar is finally getting good. So, the title of this chapter is Ouch, You're Stepping on My Air Hose. Guys, it's just a new week, I guess. Y'all are probably going to get more. Well, I don't know. If y'all get it, we get the benefit of it. So, it's good all the way around. I'm going to read a lot of this to you because it's really good stuff and I don't want to mess it up. So, he says a cardinal rule for learning to communicate love and respect is this. When your words sting your spouse and cause an issue, that issue is seldom the real issue. Ladies, agree? Y'all agree? Okay, guys. When you are getting fussed at, nagged, whatever word you like to call it, from now on, when she starts, I want you to remember this. Whatever's coming out of her mouth is not the real issue, and you need to know that. Nathan, when Lindsay starts yelling at you, and I'll give you an example, it happened at our house, and Lamar doesn't even know about it yet, because I didn't say a word about it. When she starts yelling at you because you haven't taken the trash out in 2 weeks, it's not about the trash. So don't yell back at her about the trash. Just stop and say, wait a minute, this is not about the trash. It's not about trash. Was Friday the last warm day? I know it wasn't yesterday because it was cooler. Okay. We have, how many? 3, 4, really biggest you can buy, black trash bags, sitting in our garage. So that's at least 2 weeks, maybe longer, because there's some stuff outside the black trash bags too that haven't made it in a black trash bag yet. And I came home from, I don't know where I'd been Friday, and I walked in the garage, and we have this little code thing on our door. And I walked in, I had stuff in my arms, and I walked up to the little box to open the door, and all of a sudden, this foul smell hits me. And I had to stand there and hold my breath while I punched in the code. Because my husband, who drives the truck, that's why he has to take the trash to the dump, because I drive a car and I can't put that nasty trash in my car. Has not taken the trash for weeks. But you know what? He's been really good lately, and I feel really loved, and we've had date night, and we spent a week together on the boat. It's just trash. But, we hadn't been on a boat for a week, and we hadn't been doing date nights, and he hadn't been sweet. It would have been a major deal at our house if the trash was that piled up. So, guys, whatever she's complaining about is not the real issue. If she's happy and feeling loved and appreciated, we can deal with a little trash piled up because you've been busy. If we're not feeling loved and appreciated, every little cheese paper left on the counter when you make your ham and cheese sandwich pushes us over the edge. So, you can yell at about a cheese paper on the counter.
Are you a slob or
Carol, please let me answer.
Let me just say this, y'all. Y'all just don't understand. For 22 years, she's been fussing about cheese paper. I don't know what it is about those little things that you take off that slice of cheese. I can't ever put them in the trash can. It just stays where I just, wherever I make my sandwich, that's where it
It
stays.
blends into the countertop, don't it?
It's recliner with them.
No.
Chips all around.
No. Here's what's so funny about cheese papers, Caroline. I'll make my sandwich. I'll leave my cheese paper there. I'll go sit down in the recliner and eat. I will go to the trash and throw the Coke can and the paper plate away. And the darn cheese paper will still be sitting on the counter.
Always do it.
Yeah, it's American cheese, American slices.
I sent him one day one of those little pictures with the sayings off Pinterest. It said, "You are one pilot away from an episode of Hoarders." So, that's the answer to your question. We're all crafts away from an episode of Hoarders. Okay, back on track. The real, and when you are having an argument or a disagreement about something, he says, the real issue is that the words heard by your wife can sound unloving, and words heard by your husband can sound disrespectful. You can do, okay, so I say something to Lamar, and it sounds very disrespectful. He's going to come back at me because I was just disrespectful with something that sounds unloving to me. And the author says, then we start getting defensive because, I feel like he's been unloving, so I'm going to get defensive. He feels like I've been disrespectful. He's going to get defensive, and then that's how it starts. Back and forth, back and forth. Once one of you says something that makes the other feel unloved or disrespectful, it's no longer about the trash or the cheese paper. That's forgotten. That's how a discussion about a cheese paper being left on the counter can get out of hand. At your house, it's something else. But once one of you responds in an unloving or disrespectful way, it's not about that anymore. Now it's become, I feel unloved by you, or I feel disrespected by you, and that's how it gets out of control and crazy all over a little cheese paper. We could have gotten crazy about the trash. If I had, when he came home, met him at the door and blasted him about the fact that he hadn't taken the trash out in 2 weeks, I could have said, "You are so lazy." There's a whole lot of things I could have said, and we could have jumped on the crazy cycle and gone for a spin. I chose not to. I didn't want
Teacher, can I say
spin on
something?
the crazy cycle. He would have gotten immediately defensive. Hang on. If I had jumped on him about the trash, he would have immediately gotten defensive. That's a given. 100% of the time, he's going to go defensive, and then we're gonna be at it about something that has nothing to do with trash. Go ahead.
I just want it to be on the public record that her his trash. She knows I wouldn't have worked with that chainsaw yesterday, so I'm gonna have to take the trash tomorrow. But she got her trees, some of her trees cut up yesterday. I love you, dear.
You're done. Whatever your issue might be, it's no longer the real issue. Listen to this, guys, because you have reduced the importance of your partner. It's no longer the real issue because you have reduced the importance of your partner. That is the real issue, and that is why all your spouse will hear at the moment is, you don't matter to me, I don't love you, or you don't matter to me, I don't respect you. You ever wondered how the little petty things get out of hand and become big spins on the crazy cycle? Now you know. Don't go there. Now, I would never say to Lamar, you don't matter to me and I don't love you. And I never would have considered that when I jump on him when he walks through the door about the trash, that's what he hears. It may not be what he hears. I'm not sure how much he listens when I fuss about stuff. But, girls, ladies, Lynn Vaughn, you'll tell the truth, and you're sensitive. Do certain things that are said feel that way? Be honest. We're girls. Marie's shaking her head. You're not the only one. I can say things to him that wouldn't faze him. But if he said them back to me, I would just, I wouldn't like it. But I wouldn't cry. I skip right over hurt and slide into mad. I don't spend a lot of time at hurt. I'm not going to cry. My friend Lynn, she would probably cry. I ain't cry. I'm not going to do it. We just going to slide right through that. Feeling the hurt, and we're going to go straight to mad. So then, it's been the crazy cycle. At the bottom of any issue that is causing conflict is the deeper issue of a lack of love and respect. So what causes conflict at your house? Anybody want to say? Raise your hand and say what causes conflict. Susan said not taking out the trash. That's not the real issue. Anybody else? What causes conflict? Last week, 2 weeks ago, we talked about money, and a lot of you raised your hand and said money causes conflicts at your house. Forgetting the flush?
Hold on. Caroline wants to say something. Say it, Caroline. Say it. Caroline said he forgets to flush. Say it, Caroline.
No, it's worse than that. So I just looked at her, we were trying to figure out, when you get up in the middle of the night, and you go to the bathroom, and you sit down thinking the seat's going to be there. And it's not. And so, one day, I fall really hard on that thing, I'm going to come up really fast. I mean, what's the big deal? And he will not put that thing down. It drives me insane.
Okay, I have to side with Joe here.
At least I put it up.
I don't put, when I put it down, it never crosses my mind to put it back up from Lamar. So I can't complain that he doesn't put it back up.
Amen.
Well, Lamar's not going to sit down and end up
Falling in.
So I have to side with Joe there. I'm not going to put it back up every time I use it. So I don't expect him to put it down every time he uses it. But, you got to be more careful when you get up in the middle of the night. Okay. The key to cracking the communication code is realizing that your mate hears with different hearing aids and sees with different sunglasses. Now, here's a good tip. When you are in the heat of the moment and you see it's about to get out of control, this is what he says. Instead of defending yourself, by saying, that's your problem. Lamar and Logan had a discussion one time, and did Logan say to you, well then obviously, Lamar was fussing at Logan about something, and Logan looked at him and his smart mouth teenage self and said, well, it's obviously bothering you more than it is me. Well, that was a spin on the crazy cycle, but Logan deserved that one. But when it's you and your spouse, you can no longer say that's your issue. Because something bothers your spouse that doesn't bother you. Listen to this. Stop saying that's your issue. Jesus said you and your spouse are no longer two but one. Everything's your issue together now. So, you don't have to agree that the trash should be taken out before it stinks. It's still your issue because now everything is our issues. If you want to never take the trash out again, don't get married because chances are your spouse is going to want the trash out. If you never want to put another cheese paper in the trash and you want to stack them up on the counter till they touch the sink, stay single. If you've said I do, it's not her issue or your issue. It's our issues. Let's go quick. How do we keep the crazy cycle from spinning after one of you or both of you have said something to get it started? So, talking about something, it shouldn't be an argument. Somebody adds that little tone or that smarty phrase that sets you off. How do you stop it? Go back. Go back to, remember, this is a goodwill person. Take a deep breath. Maybe Joey didn't mean to sound hateful. No. Maybe he didn't. Just consider, okay, wait a minute. Ooh, that feels like my air hose is being stepped on. But maybe he didn't mean to choke me out. Think about what you might have done to step on his air hose to cause him to respond that way. Woo! That kind of puts it back on us. And here you go. Here's you something you can say or think to yourself. Something is obviously bothering him. If he snaps at me, instead of responding and snapping back at him, if I say to myself, something is obviously bothering him, and instead of getting defensive and jumping to conclusions, what if I try to find out what's wrong? Now, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. If he comes home tomorrow, well, he'll be off tomorrow, Tuesday afternoon, when he comes home, if he snaps at me, it is not going to be my first instinct to say, whoa, wait a minute, something is obviously wrong. Maybe he's had a bad day today. Maybe somebody at office unleashed their crazy, and he's, it's not my first instinct. My first instinct is, I've been here all day picking up these cheese papers. He don't need to come in this house and be mean to me or snap at me. That's my my first instinct would be to snap back. But what if I didn't? What if I don't? What if I take a deep breath and realize, you know what? He's a good guy. He spent all day in the yard till it started raining with a chainsaw, cleaning up a mess. Because I wanted to save money and just pay the guy to drop the trees. I didn't want to spend all the money to have him make them disappear. So now we've got to clean the mess up, but I still have over half of my income tax money to do something else with. So he's a good guy. Maybe, now he's got something on his truck, so that goes the rest of it. He's a good guy. Maybe it was a bad day. Maybe he didn't mean to come in here and, sound unloving.
In his defense, he got the wrong end of that.
The tree part? No, he did not.
Dropping them, I'll take that job any day.
Well, they were really close to a pool and a house.
Yeah.
And there was no way he was dropping those trees.
And a friend, I've dropped a lot of trees. No
Well, I should have called you then, because I wasn't about to. The discussion, where's Gregory? The discussion went like this. Greg, can you tell me where to make the cuts? And Greg said yes. And I got on the phone immediately and started calling a professional. That was going to go on in my sounds disrespectful or unloving to you. Here's something you can say. That felt unloving. Did I do something that seemed disrespectful? Because I can tell you sometimes I start it, but I don't really think. See, what I say that might sound disrespectful to him, I just kind of don't really focus on that too much or think about that. I can even do it, not even realize it. He's not going to say, hey, that was disrespectful. Let's stop right here. The crazy cycle students. There's one more thing I really want to read you before we stop. Let me find it. There was a couple of funnies. One man wrote in and said he grabs his throat like he's choking. Like when she's to tell her she's on his air hose. Help me out here. I think my pink or blue, whichever way it is, sunglasses are fogging over. There's a cute one you can say. Honey, could you borrow my pink or blue hearing aids if you're not understanding each other? It's important, and this couple wrote in after a seminar and said that now they view each other not as enemies, but allies with different perspectives. We're allies with different perspectives, not enemies. We don't need to fight each other. Okay, final question. Does this all sound like a lot of work? Does it sound like a lot of work that if he comes in and he's short and snappy, I've got to take a step back, take a deep breath, and try to figure out what's really going on? Sounds like a lot of work. Guess what, Nathan and Lindsay? Marriage is work. If you don't want to work at it, call the whole thing off now. It's work. If you don't want to work at it, get out now. It's work. It's hard work. But guess what? Anybody in here who spent any time not getting along with their spouse can tell you it's also a lot of work. And I like the way he says it, so I'm going to read it. You spend just as much time, if not more, and energy getting angry, withdrawing, pouting, accusing, defending, worrying, and losing sleep. Anybody in this room ever went to bed mad? Raise your hands.
Raise your hand.
Anybody in this room ever gone for a week not speaking to each other?
A week?
Okay.
No, she's thinking more
Couple
than a
days.
month.
You ever gone a couple days?
Oh, no, I get it out. I just
You don't get
I just
30
It's work. It's work trying to understand somebody who's nothing like you. But it's also work walking around mad. Divorce is hard work. Divorce is expensive.
Woo! I'll second that.
Divorce is expensive. It's hard work. Hey, where do you want to put it in? You want to put it in the work in your relationship? Or you want to put the work in figuring out how we're all going to attend Johnny's birthday party when Mommy and Daddy don't live with each other and they're married to somebody else? That's work. I made my parents sit on the front row at my wedding. Dad, Mom's new husband. Ain't my fault they got divorced. They had to sit there and act like grown-ups, which my parents do, luckily.
Divorce is harder than staying married.
And
Affects everything.
divorce, I'm an adult child of a divorce, and my parents had the absolute best divorce of anybody I know. Not once did I think they don't love me. We always knew it wasn't me, it wasn't us. They didn't love each other. Knew that. Any kind of event that involved us, they came together. They acted like they should. They can be at a birthday party for Logan, and everybody's nice, and there's never an issue.
We're blessed.
But there are still consequences. My son does not see either grandparent as much as he would if they were still married to each other. He doesn't have the relationship with either one of them that he would if they were still married to each other. They both have spouses. Those spouses aren't his grandparents. It makes a difference. Put the work in. Put the work in. Up front, during, a lot less headaches to deal with afterwards. So yes, it's work, but yes, it's worth it. Here's a question, guys, to ask yourselves always. Is what I'm about to do or say going to feel unloving to her? Tracy Monax, are you ever going to have an issue with Shane Mullinax if he asks himself that question all the time? If he asks himself, is what I'm about to say or do going to feel unloving to Tracy? On a regular basis, if that's his attitude, can you see anything y'all gonna have a problem with?
We don't usually have problems.
Maybe Shane already asked himself that question. Ladies,
Is that why we don't have problems? We just have like
Don't answer
dishwasher
that.
cleaning out and starting
I don't
from.
have,
I'll trade you some dishwasher
I
problems
make
for
more
some
noises.
cheesemaker.
He does. He's all like,
Okay, girls, here's your question. Is what I'm about to do or say going to feel disrespectful to him? In almost any instance, you can stop the crazy cycle in its track. If one or both of you are willing to simply say, hey, we're acting crazy here. It's probably me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Who can keep arguing after that's said? If you can keep arguing after that's said, I raised it, 1 + 1 = 3. It doesn't equal 2. That should stop it. Forgiveness is a lost art in society and church and sadly in marriage. And guess what next week's chapter is about? Forgiveness. Learning how to forgive as Jesus did. So, somebody this week say, hey, we're acting crazy here. It's probably me. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. If you're about to get into a disagreement. And did anybody fight about money this week? Don't raise your hand. Should nobody in this room be fighting about money anymore? We dealt with that. Anybody? Anybody? No money fights this week? Arguments? Did y'all do a bunch?
We just didn't pay the bills this week.
That'd be the argument next week.
Did y'all do a budget
Why
2
did it
weeks
turn
ago?
off? Why didn't you?
Did a budget?
Awesome.
Good. Anybody else do a budget? I think most of y'all probably already have a budget. Okay, awesome.
I work for the state.
Yeah.
You got to have a budget.
You got anything? You want
No,
to
we're
close it
good.
out?
We're good.
All right.
We're good. See y'all.
Just quiet.
I got nurse. Love you.